Yeah, I'd be lying if I didn't say that I was very disappointed in a couple points in this episode, but this is my impressions of episode 12 of Vivy Fluorite Ice Song. Yeah, like I'm kind of alluding to, 2 points in this episode that kind of did things that I was kind of assuming would happen if they wanted to go the usual route. And unfortunately, they did. But we'll get into both of those. Technically, one is right at the very beginning, but yeah, we get a quick shot of Vivy speaking to the archive, and the archive, of course, reveals that they were created 115 years prior to essentially monitor what the AIs do, download what they do, and kind of work to help mankind evolve. And of course, as with usual AI stories like this, it deemed the humans are unnecessary, and in order to evolve, they must be wiped out. So the AI basically starts wiping them out. So, like I said, I was hoping they wouldn't go this route. I spoke about this in the last episode, Impressions, but I've seen far too many AI stories where it ends with, oh, why is the AIs going crazy? Oh, they want to save mankind from themselves, obviously. Now, granted, it's not going on the idea of mankind is, causing huge wars and will destroy the planet at some point. We must remove them. But more on the idea of them just being unable to... They've become too dependent and they're kind of destructive, so we'll just kind of help them evolve by just wiping them out, which makes perfect sense, right? But of course, later on, it gets more into the idea of them wanting to basically replace humankind with AIs, because AIs are obviously the next evolution of mankind. And so that's the route it takes, unfortunately. But like I said, I was really hoping it to really go on more on the idea of the heart and it kind of causing it to kind of mess up. But we have what we have. Now, the thing is to remember, and this is why I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed, but I'm not mad because it technically does take that concept and does something different with it. While some might see it as being kind of anime-ish and cheesy, it is a concept that actually makes sense to me to an extent, if I'm understanding it correctly. This goes back to kind of the Yugo Ophelia episode where I think I understand what they're saying, because it kind of either doesn't translate right or just doesn't seem like it's doing a good job pacing it. But essentially the idea is that the AI has been watching Vivy this entire time and is kind of blown away by the fact that she has essentially earned human feelings and even wrote a song just like a human would. And it is kind of interested the archive system and how she was able to pull that off. So it almost decides to allow Vivy to almost choose the fate of mankind if she wants humankind to if she deems humankind fit to continue, she can sing this program and almost kind of fulfill the role as the humans and perform this song. Almost like she's allowing this, what she sees as closest to humans, to kind of dictate if this is something. She obviously, I guess, has a better understanding of mankind than anybody else, even the archive. And so she would be properly fit to deem if mankind can continue on. And obviously, Vivy was unable to sing the song because Vivy still believes that she can't sing, and so she just couldn't. And this ends up leading to, when they try to, rush into the archive destroys everybody, and Vivy, in this last-ditch effort at the core, again, unable to sing, the countdown ends, and these satellites all fall, and mankind is basically wiped out for the most part. It seems like people are still living because Dr. Matsumoto's still there. But yeah, it did seem like Dr. Matsumoto did know that something was going on with Vivy, and so he did have a backup plan, which that was something that he revealed to the robot Matsumoto, that he was going to basically send Vivy back if it fails to a certain time right before Matsumoto himself dies, so that she can then go get help from the Towaks and actually successfully save the world. So, and that basically reveals why the AIs are actually singing Vivy's song, is that they're fascinated by her, and apparently they sing the song because they want to prove that they can sing better than humans. So that's why all of them are singing, which is kind of weird. But at the same time, again, this is kind of this interesting, different take on the idea of the AIs taking over mankind. I did get a kick out of the fact that when they were storming the building, They totally had this very Matrix-inspired scene, when they walk into the building, the room that has like all the pillars, and there's that distance, and they kind of just go and rush around. I was like, that just totally reminded me of Matrix, but the inspiration's probably there. But yeah, this gets into the second disappointment. Not mad, I'm just disappointed. Was that, I know that the moment that the countdown ended and it was actually happening, I'm like, yeah, they're going to do the let's jump back in time again, not sticking with what ended up happening, but rather just trying to reset it again, and then everybody's happy in the end, which, other than Matsumoto, apparently Matsumoto may be dead. I don't know. I almost kind of wondered if the shot they gave us was actually the current time and he didn't actually die. Let's see. We'll see. But no, I'm very, very disappointed in the fact that they went ahead and did that, because like I said, I almost thought they were going to stick with it. I figured it would be a thing where, okay, let me collect my thoughts here. So yeah, I'm disappointed in the idea that it is a thing where something had happened and they didn't stick with it. I kind of had a feeling the moment that Vivy had woke up and this is all happening, they were going to reset again. But they ended up keeping it to at least when Matsumoto died, so they do still have death involved, so there is still loss. But shoot, I was actually thinking that they were going to end it with Vivy being sent back all the way back to when she was performing with that lolly girl from the first Singularity. But I kind of assume it's going to be a thing where she's sent back, she gets with the Towoks help her get to the stage, she sings, and everything stops, and that's how they end it. Her song will essentially bring people happiness because she's going to end the war. So she'll fulfill our mission. Yay! But it is kind of disappointing in that regard, because I hope that some writers kind of stick with what they choose. And now granted, it's them sticking with the choice that they have of doing this whole thing, but sticking with what you put yourself into. And I almost kind of thought that what the archive meant by her choosing One Future was that she was going to entrust her with the first AI birth or something like that, similar to something like Armitage, where they get into that kind of aspect. If you have not watched Armitage 3, please go watch it. But the concept of her being able to bring happiness and new life forward in mankind, but again, choosing instead to do the route of, well, let's just fix everything again and just reset it. Just the simple reset button, which is unfortunate. I think that's probably the easiest way out. Now, granted, they do stick with the concept that this is technically different singularities, so it's not resolved. It's just, you've just created another line where it might not happen. So the idea of them fixing anything is impossible, because they've delved into the realm of singularities, and what the singularities mean is that each singularity you branch off of, the old one remains and it's destroyed. So all you're doing is just creating another singularity that's actually going to be happy, but you don't fix what was the unhappiness. So I don't know. Like I said, it's I'm muddled in thought. I really am muddled in thought. I guess I'm just kind of too worked up in my disappointments in them choosing the usual route with the, AI decides that mankind is not fit to live. And also the willingness to do a reset button rather than to just stick with the havoc that's been created, the harshness that has been dealt. But even still, the episode was fun. I really enjoyed it. And like I said, I did enjoy the different take on the concept of this whole thing, doing the idea of Vivy being the closest to a human that AI can get, and thus them deeming her fit to decide mankind's fate. The struggles that she has with that particular idea, the loss that she ends up experiencing, really hitting on the idea that she is getting emotions and witnessing all this stuff. It is a cool take on that aspect. It's a little disappointing, the idea that I like when writers stick with things and don't reset things, because it's more interesting that way. It doesn't always have to be fully happy. It doesn't have to end with everybody alive. It can have casualties in the learning process, but it is what it is. Still enjoyed it. I got a little bit emotional with Beth and Yui in that particular scene with her losing Yui, which was Yui herself just really kind of standing up to it. I got a little emotional when she's like, "Hey, what? Can you tell me what your name is?" And the robot just doesn't care. So yeah, looking forward next week. It is the finale, of course, and we will get to see what Vivy defines as a heart, which is obviously her emotions and experience she's gone through. I think that's what they're kind of leading it to her really deciding, which is kind of what inspired her for the song itself, is just the experiences and the memories that she's gotten along the way. So we'll see how things wrap up. Hopefully they have a really awesome ending. But overall, the entire series, I've really enjoyed it. So look forward next week at my impressions. At that point, I'll probably do a review shortly after. But I hope you guys enjoyed my impressions, and hope you guys stick with me till the end. And we'll see where it goes. But if you like this video, please leave a like down below. Comment, let me know what you thought of the episode. Were you disappointed? Are you mad? Subscribe if you haven't already, and y'all take care.